Hi, this is Lee Phillips. I'm an attorney. Don't hold that against me. I want to talk to you for a minute about the articles of incorporation if you're a corporation, or the articles of organization, or the certificate of organization, or whatever your state calls this thing. These are the papers that you file to create the corporation or to create the LLC. You file them with a state. Actually, the corporations and LLCs are creations of the state. It's your state that's giving you permission to operate under these rules in order to have your company give you limited liability, for example, and taxes, structures, and all that stuff. So, you have to have the proper articles of incorporation and articles of organization. And you need to read them and understand them. Now, if you go to the lawyer, a lot of the lawyers will give you 4, 5, 6 pages of these things, the articles of incorporation. No. The states require a very minimal amount of information in order to set up the corporation or the LLC. In the old days, the states used to require that you have $1,000 or $2,000 or $5,000 in the bank account of the company. Well, that's not a requirement anywhere anymore that I'm aware of anyway. So these rules and regulations associated with the articles of incorporation or the articles of organization have been pared back a lot. You will actually file the articles of incorporation, the articles of organization on the state website. They're going to ask you a few questions: the name of the company, the address of the company, and you have to have a registered agent in the state. So they need the registered agent's address and phone number and all of that stuff. That has to be a physical person within the state that they could get a hold of, that the sheriff can come and give a lawsuit to. So you need a physical person. If you don't have anybody in the state where you're incorporating or forming your LLC, there are lots of guys that will be more than happy to take your money and act as your registered agent. So you list the registered agent, you list the home office, you list this sort of stuff. Don't give any more information to the state than is required at a minimum, because that's public information. Anybody can see what you filed in order to create your corporation or your LLC. Now you're going to have a rule book that's going to be a lot longer than the articles of incorporation or the articles of organization. And that rule book is going to tell you how you're going to operate the company. In a corporation, that's called the bylaws. In the LLC, it's called the operating agreement. We'll talk about those in another one of these YouTube series. But for now, make sure that you understand what each thing that they're asking is, and that you supply the proper answers on the articles of incorporation or the articles of organization, and make sure you don't give them any more information than is actually required there. They're going to often ask, what's the nature of the business? And you're going to say it's a retail business, or it's a consulting business, or you can make that pretty broad, and you probably ought to. Some attorneys say, well, just say any lawful activity. No, that'll come back to bite you sometimes. I've seen it happen in a number of court cases. State that this is a real estate investing company. State that it's a consulting company or a chemistry laboratory or whatever it is. And that's usually in the articles of incorporation or the articles of organization as well. So the first step is understand what is required by the state, give them the minimum amount. Oh, and then you have to pay your fees, of course. And you file your papers with the state, and that makes you a company in the state's eyes. Now, that doesn't mean that you're going to get the limited liability. It doesn't mean you're going to get the tax structure you want. It doesn't mean anything. It just means that you now have a company with the state. And in one of my 27 formalities that I go through on corporations and LLCs, one of the first ones is, let's make sure we understand what's in the articles of incorporation or the articles of organization.